This is the big light. Stop coming in and turning this on without warning me.
Who would have thought that this would become the most controversial thing in our homes? In fact, on TikTok, videos dissecting the big light, as traumatized creators call it, have amassed over 100 million views.
We never, ever, 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 ever use the big light.
Divisive topic.
This is the real conspiracy theory.
Well, for me, it's only the lamps.
And the reason she didn't come back over is because you had the big light on the whole time.
Even Mariah Carey can't stand it.
You and I share something in common, and that is our dislike. I'm going to go so far as a hatred for overhead lighting.
Oh, yes, a dislike, both the dislike and the hatred of overhead lighting.
In fact, big light hatred is so prevalent that Halford's found 25% of Gen Z can't screw in an overhead bulb. But are we ready to hit the off switch forever? This is Decomplicated. The first thing that appears to have turned us off, to the big light, comes down to a simple equation: trends and technology. From hygge to cozy luxury, over the last decade, interior design trends have been focused on what those in the know call soft living. With a strong Scandinavian influence at its heart, soft living is about warm and neutral tones, ambient lighting and plush textured fabrics, e.g. it's an Instagram influencer's dream. This trend comes straight from regions like Stockholm, Oslo and Reykjavik, where they only get 6 to 8 hours daylight in the winter, so it makes sense that they know a thing or two about good lighting. Couple this with a rise in technology that allows us to play with the way we light our spaces, such as with smart and gradient lamps. The big light never stood a chance.
I think people associate the big main light with being this sort of really bright, harsh light that sort of lights up every single corner of the room, and those days feel like they've gone a little bit, and people have wisened up to the fact that you need to do a little bit more to create a really nice home.
Do you think that most people see lighting the way that you do?
I think most people are not really aware of what goes into designing a lighting scheme for their house. But I think most people instinctively understand when lighting is not right and when it makes them feel bad. You just know that feeling of, the interrogation table where somebody's sitting there being interrogated with the bright light over their head. We all know that lighting is a sort of a psychological aspect of how we feel.
I live in Scandinavia, in Sweden, and when I moved here instantly, it was like one of the first things that I noticed about people's homes. Lighting can transform a home done in the right way. It's a very, very quick fix for making a home not only practical, but also like really cozy and a nice place to unwind. It's similar to that feeling that you get at sunset when it's this golden photographer's hour and everything is bathed in this lovely, lovely warm light.
It's Gen Z who are leading the charge when it comes to changing the way we light our homes. Not only are they the ones posting more about it on social media, they're also at the forefront of embracing this trend. In fact, in the US, TaskRabbit reported that in 2024 they saw a 42% increase in requests from Gen Z asking for people to hang their lights. It isn't only about aesthetics though. Research has shown that lighting can have an impact on how we feel. A survey in the States showed that 67% of people believe that lighting can make or break a room's atmosphere. While in the UK, Wren Kitchens found that 48% of people found that good lighting improves their mood, while 50% found that it makes them feel calmer. So it would track that the big light, which often brings brighter and harsher tones to our living spaces, won't necessarily make us feel good. It can go even further than that. Reports suggest that bright light can have some surprising health and lifestyle benefits. Blue light, for example, is said to have a positive impact on your mood, enhancing your productivity levels, making it a good light for workspaces. While orange and red lights can be used later in the day to mimic the sunset, which can help regulate your circadian rhythm. Professor Manuel Spitschan explains that this is something that the big light simply doesn't do.
Light in the evening in particular affects us quite substantially. It sends a signal to our body that it is not quite time yet to go to sleep. And so what it does, it delays what we call the circadian timing system. So our body has a circadian clock. It's the main signal for our bodies to basically organize what it's doing across the 24-hour cycle. And any light really affects us in the evening when we're exposed to it and at night. And so, of course, generally we know that if there's more light, this has a stronger effect. If we expose ourselves to bright light from above at night, it will have a stronger effect than light from below at the same intensity. We have a lot of knowledge on the importance of nutrition, exercise, physical activity. Generally, I think there's also an awareness that sleep is important. But it's really only in the last couple of decades that we've come to appreciate that light is a very strong signal for our biological timing system.
But if having bright lights overhead at night isn't good for us, where should we hang them? I asked interior designer Brandon to give me the lowdown.
There's some kind of basic rules of how we think about lighting. One is that it's always better to provide a mix of different heights and levels of light, right? So you will have perhaps an overhead light or a set of overhead lights in a room. Then you also want to get lighting down here at sort of human level if you're sitting down. You might also have wall lights, which could be at any variety of heights from sort of eye level down, sort of to more chest height. And then we might put an uplighter on the floor, right? Something that comes up from the floor just to light up. Maybe it's a houseplant that you want to light, or maybe it's something like a sculpture or a piece of art that would look perfectly lit from below. Can we please do something about this overhead lighting?
So would you say we've fixed the lighting in here now?
I think the lighting in here is much better now.
So we know how various TikTokers, Mariah Carey and interior designers seem to feel about ambient lighting. But none of this tells us whether people are actually putting big lights in their homes less than they used to be. I decided to do some market research myself. Online you can find IKEA's archive of Swedish catalogues. I tallied up how many ceiling hanging lights I could see in the years 2001, 2011 and 2021. I was hoping to discover a marked decrease in ceiling hanging lights, as TikTok would suggest, but I didn't find that at all. In fact, in 2021 I spotted the most ceiling hanging lights at 51 images. So maybe there's still time for this thing to shine after all.